How do you know that?
How do you know that?
How'd you know that?
Shock the nation, bud.
Jessie.
What's going on, Chad?
Ooh, I'm doing good. I got my stone, having me a 24-ouncer. Probably have a few more.
You got a 24-ouncer?
Well, I've had it for a while, so I figured you don't want this to go bad. So you got to drink it, the 24-ouncer. That's a lot to lose. I mean, I hate to see beer go bad. And I say that and you laugh, but I'm downstairs and I've got a fridge downstairs and we don't use it much. So I brought my beer downstairs, open it up, and there's some lone soldiers in that fridge that are probably, they're MIA. They've been missing in action.
Missing in action, huh?
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for them. And hey, that reminds me, man. Belated, it's not Happy Veterans Day. I mean, is that what people say? It's thank you for your service. And, I'd like to thank you and everybody that's watching that served. But, you don't walk up to somebody and say, hey, Happy Veterans Day. I mean, that's not what you do, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really pay that much attention to it, I guess.
So did you get honored at all Saturday?
I asked my wife to, but she was sick, so
oh, that's too bad.
she wasn't rolling like that day.
Well, hey, that kind of reminds me of something. This is going to lead me right into the how do you know that segment of the show.
Okay, what's that?
So, did you know that Shaggy, the rapper singer, was a Marine for the United States?
Okay, yeah, I think I got one of his clips pulled up. I think we were.
Do you? Yeah. Let's
up.
play a little Shaggy here.
All right, let's do it. All right, can you see it?
I see it. Yeah. Well, Shaggy, man, it wasn't me. So yeah, he goes in the Marine Corps. He was trying to be a rapper and musician, and I think he was in New York City, and he found that really while he was trying to get up and coming, all he could do was find jobs that were illegal. I mean, what could that be, Jesse? I don't know. I mean, New York's a pretty clean cut place. So anyway, he decides, hey, I think I'm going to join the services. He got a Marine Corps, and he did that, and boom, it's the Gulf War. So he's there in Iraq. He's driving over landmines, they said, and he gets there, and he's kind of walking around in camp, and some guy walks up to him, says, hey, you're Shaggy. He's like, yeah. He goes, I got your demo, man. I got your demo. So he got recognized while he was serving. So that was kind of cool. Then he gets out and he just busts loose and explodes. And I don't know if Shaggy's a thing anymore. I mean, he was in the 90s, early 90s and stuff. But did you ever really hear Shaggy much when you were growing up? Did anybody really play him?
Yeah, I mean, you'll hear it at parties and stuff when you're younger. Someone would play it,
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. I like Shaggy. He's good at it. But hey, so I made a mistake last episode. So
okay.
I was talking about a guy, only one though, dude. And it was kind of a mistake. I just called him by the wrong name. It's like calling Joe Paul, So I said Michelangelo, and who I really meant was Leonardo da Vinci. So that's who I meant. And, I just said Michelangelo. And I'll tell you why that is, why I said that. It was because I saw some stupid commercial with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
and one of them's Michelangelo. Am I right? I mean, come on, you're a turtle guy. They were big when you were a kid, weren't they?
They were big. I didn't much. I didn't. Well, at the time when I was younger, you remember me, mom, and dad. We lived out in the country, so I was outside a lot.
You were playing with your turtle.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a
There
pet
you
turtle
go.
in your pants when you were a kid? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't think I was playing with my turtle a lot at that time. I was pretty
Oh,
young.
okay.
I would hope not, anyway.
So another thing, hey, we've got some pretty cool TikTok videos that you and your wife have put out, and they're awesome, by the way. And not a lot of comments yet on that. And we really don't have a lot of comments on our videos yet here on YouTube. I hope people kind of get in there and tell us what you think. I mean, put your comments, and I hope after this episode, because dude, we got a lot to go over today. So
Well, before you go on, Chad, you had a couple comments on TikTok.
I did. Well, I just had one. I think I just had one, and
Yeah.
so I don't want to be the bad guy, and I'm not going to pick fights with anybody. And hey, look, I'm a jackass sometimes. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So I'm going to say stuff that may not be right. Usually I say a lot of stuff that I hear, but for the most part, if I'm going to put my neck out there, I'm going to do a little research on stuff and at least know. So, we talked about a pyramid in Missouri, right?
Yeah.
And so I know on that TikTok video, some guy, and you said after I was telling you about this pyramid, they said, hey, yeah, this guy really knows stuff. He doesn't know it's fake, right? I mean, that was basically what the guy commented. I didn't want to call him out and respond directly to whoever this person was, but I just put on there, hey, look, it's true, and I put a link. I think I put a link. Maybe I didn't.
You put a link on it.
Yeah, so I put a link of the Indian tribe, that what it was. Now, I did say one thing that I don't know if anybody can prove or disprove. I said that they believe there could have been possibly up to 1 million people. With that, it is that this tribe broke off into many other tribes. So, yeah, maybe 1 million people total when you count all that. Maybe not 1 million people living in one area, but it was a very, very big tribe, and they believe hundreds of thousands lived in this. They had a metropolis of 100,000 around this pyramid, and it's just like 10 miles away from St. Louis is where it's at. And I want to share my video, just kind of show what I'm talking about here. And so I don't know if I'm going to get the name of the tribe correct. The Cahokia. I don't know if that's how you'd pronounce that.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is where it was at, and dude, this was before Christ that they believed that this tribe was around. I mean, 1200 BCE. So
Okay.
I mean, this is an old civilization, and the pyramid is the biggest one that has been found. It's bigger than the Great Pyramids. It's ginormous. I don't know if they know how deep it goes, because like I was telling you, it's like if you look down here, it's covered by a lot of stuff. They know it goes deeper, but as things settle and flood, land always goes up.
Yeah.
So this thing is big, and there you go. So hey, so the dude who says it's fake, and there you go. It's not fake, man.
Yeah, well, one of my videos when I was just stating that Hamas doesn't like, Americans, and I said, they don't like gay people, which is a fact. I got all these people that were like, do your research. Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable that you actually believe that. I was like, to those people, if you actually believe they like you, one, you're a fucking idiot, and two, do your fucking research. I don't care if you guys go on there and state your opinions, but don't say what I say is not opinion just because you're in your own feelings. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I don't really give a fuck if you guys or if those people get on the I mean, people are going to come for you regardless. I don't care if you post, whatever, but if you're going to say shit, can you not base it off of emotion and just do your research? In Hamas's mission statement, they blatantly, now go look at their shit. I mean, do your research, but they don't like gay people. They don't like Americans. They don't like the Western civilizations. So for you to sit there and say that I'm wrong on this just blatantly tells me you haven't done your fucking research. So, whatever. Let bygones be bygones. I don't hate you guys that disagree with me, so don't get on my comments and hate me. I mean, if I were to meet you tomorrow, I'd be respectful. So don't be a little cocksucker in the comments. How's that sound?
Hey, sounds good to me. I mean, you can be that way to me. I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't care. But I might call you out on the next episode. Just saying.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Saying. Hey, and I'm not calling this dude out. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna be like that. But hey, it's there. There it is, right there in front of you. You can all see it. So that's all I got on that, Jesse. But this is gonna lead me to another one. So now the oldest pyramid that they think they found was Indonesia, and this sucker's old. And they say it's between 25,000 and 14,000 years ago. Okay, so this is going to kind of lead us into maybe some of the stuff that I want to talk about. I guess where I'm going with a lot of this stuff is I think there's been stuff going on for a long time on this planet. And I stated that last episode. And with what I want to talk about today mainly is, again, it happened last Tuesday, in the Mexican Congress. Jaime Maussan brought on a bunch of people to talk about the mummies that they've discovered in Peru. And there's some stuff here, and I think there's 2 points. When we get done through this, and remind me, because I might forget, because I don't know I'm doing this, so I might forget some of this stuff. But remind me, there's 2 points. There's 2 things that I want you guys to get out of this. And Ross, this is your job. You got to be thinking of this stuff and look stuff up if you can, to come up with some points or whatever. But I think there's 2 points to take away from this, and I'm not going to tell you what I think the 2 points are. I want you to think about all this, and I think there's 2 things that come away from this. So you got anything you want to go over before we jump into this? Because I think we got a lot of stuff to go over.
Tell Ross exactly, the sauce boss. Tell the sauce boss what he needs to be looking up.
Well, so again, it is the mummies of Peru presented to the Mexican Congress. So that's what we're going over.
Presented to Mexican Congress.
Yep. And with that, hey, I'm going to grab one of these, a smaller one.
I'm with you now.
If you want to take this time, because I said I only messed up one thing. I messed up 2 things, Jesse. What was the second thing I messed up? And it's the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing.
Email.
Yeah, if you want to tell everybody that,
okay,
while I go grab a beer.
Thursday.
Oh, whoopsies. The old email that we posted on our old video, we put Shock the Nation 2023 at live, but it's actually Shock the Nation, no caps, no spaces, 2023 at outlook.com. I posted on the page an update. If any of you guys sent anything to that old email, I'm sorry. We don't have access to it, so you probably sent it to some weirdo. My bad. If you send it to a weirdo and he responds with something weird, my bad. Just delete the email.
Well,
and hopefully it doesn't bother
I
you.
know that email doesn't exist because I tried to log into that email account and it said that email address does not exist. So, I think the worst case scenario is it just bounced back to people saying undeliverable. So yes, Again, it's Shock the Nation 2023 at outlook.com. So it's not at live.com. So yeah, that was my bad. I don't know why I had in my head it was at live.com, but there you go.
Yeah, just watch. Some fucking weirdo is gonna show up at their house now, just because you guys sent some weird shit to our email.
Right. And Jesse, just so you know, it's true. I took some notes on some stuff here, so I really did my homework today, man.
All right,
I did a lot of stuff.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm just gonna keep sharing here. So
Okay.
So I don't know if. So here's what we're talking about is, and of course I don't want
We're in men's
to
journal.
talk about the men's journal, but these are the mummies that we're talking about here. Okay, so multiple bodies, and this isn't all of them. There's a bigger mummy they call Maria that they found as well, and we'll specifically talk about Maria a little bit as we get into this. But yes, again, last Tuesday these were presented. So what he did this time, last time they brought the bodies to the Mexican Congress, kind of showed them what they're talking about. Last Tuesday, he brought doctors, scientists, and they presented their findings. Okay, so a lot of things happened after the first one. You heard a lot of, man, this is fake. This is just fake. They're paper mache. They cobbled things together, from other things to make these. Based on what these guys are saying, that isn't the case. So, everybody on there basically said these are authentic, and we can't tell you what they are, but they're real. They're not fake. They're not made by man to be presented as something that they're not. And I'm being careful with my words because I'm saying that they're not made by man, and I'm going to leave it at that. And again, two things when we get done with this. I think there's two things that come away with this. So, and maybe more. Two of my things anyway. But okay, so all the speakers again that got on there said that they're real, and they had 14 speakers. So there's 14 people that came out, and one of them was basically the commentator, the presenter that got on there. So most of them were doctors or scientists. So there were some people on there that weren't. And so how I did my getting into things was I got to put some props out to another YouTube channel. And her name is Christina Gomez. And I can't remember the name of her site or whatever, but it will show up on here. But I am not going to use any audio from her. I'm just going to kind of use what she's got going on here to kind of show the people, and it may show a little bit of stuff that as we get into it. So I just kind of want to go over what they presented. This was a 4-hour thing at Congress down in Mexico, and her and this other guy, they listened to it live, and as it was streamed, and they had people who were translating it into English live. So it was kind of hard to listen to. You know what I mean? Because it was hard to keep up, and words were probably mixed up and stuff like that. But there you go. So just trying to give you a little bit of background on what we're going into here. So
are you just trying to show them like video footage of them working around those bodies, or what do we?
No, it's not that. I'm just trying to put a face with the name as we get into the names, and I'm going to go over a little bit of what each of those guys said and what they presented.
Okay.
And we'll go off and we can have some discussions on that and stuff too. But I guess the first question that I would want to ask, okay, so if you've got all these doctors and scientists, and yeah, they're not from the United States, I understand, and we being from the United States, we probably are sitting on a high horse and think that everybody else is stupid. I mean, I would think that just because of where we're from, right? So, I mean, people don't go to Mexico usually for procedures, any sort of
That's
health
not always
procedure.
true.
It
There's a lot of
is,
people that
and it isn't
there's a
always
lot of
true.
people that go down there.
And that's another, we can do a whole other episode on that too. But I'm just saying, in general, people aren't going to Mexico for stuff. I mean, so I think we have a feeling that our scientists and doctors are smarter than anybody else. I mean, we just have this, I guess, feeling of that or perception, right?
Well, yeah.
So my question is, Jesse, so if you're a doctor or scientist, and they're not all from Mexico, I think some of them are from other countries. I think some are from France. There's some that might be from Italy.
Sweden was one of them.
Well, yeah, but most of these guys went to this college in Peru. And so they went to this college, and they were the people that worked on these bodies, right? So they're from around the world. But my question is, if you're one of those people, and you think it's fake, or you're trying to present something fake, and you've got a doctor next to your name, or you're a scientist and you're renowned in where you live, why would you come forward and put your name on it?
Well, I don't think most people doubt that what's happened. I mean, it's not going to Congress, right? If it's a bunch of junk. I don't think necessarily everyone doesn't believe that it's real. I think some people want to make the excuse of like, well, that could have been an ancient primate, or they're trying to say that it's something that's of this earth. They're trying to pin it on that, but at the end of the day, I did a little research. There's scientists saying that the way the body and everything is shaped and the way it's, how many ribs it's got, and all that. They're all saying that it's not a primate. It's not of a human species. I think one of them, they had an x-ray and it had eggs in its body. So I know that primates don't lay eggs, obviously. Okay.
Right.
It's not a bird, doesn't have wings. So things like that is what these scientists and everybody that's what's, I guess, taking them for a spin.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is you got guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson that comes out instantly and kind of makes fun of the whole situation. And, he says, look, people think these are aliens. And his big thing now is he likes to say, why do we think aliens would have 2 arms and 2 legs? Why would you even think that? Why wouldn't you think that they would be something other than us? Okay? I mean, so he's kind of belittling the work that's going on, okay? And he's a big non-believer in UFOs and extraterrestrials. So, and I don't know if I'm a believer in extraterrestrials per se, but I am a believer that UFO by definition is unidentified flying object, right? I mean, just in the name, that exists. You can't tell me that doesn't exist. By definition, it's unidentified, it's flying, and it's an object.
Well, let me ask you this: if you were Neil deGrasse Tyson, or however you say his name, I know who you're talking about. I know the face. I'm not good with names, but if you're this renowned scientist.
Yep.
Are you going to put your name on something that you're not sure of, and then it gets proven wrong, and then you're discredited now, right?
But he won't be discredited. I mean,
no,
look, you know what I'm saying? He'll never be discredited.
Well, I know, but you have to understand he's not going to. If people start believing in conspiracies, right, they are in this day and age, they're automatically presumed as crazy, or and in the scientific world that he's in, he's not going to look like that guy. He doesn't want to put his name on something and people are like, oh, now Neil believes in UFOs. Because for years, UFOs were always, if you believed in them,
It was taboo. You're an idiot. You're a tin hat or a tinfoil hat wearing dude.
He grew up in that era where if you believed in that, you're an idiot.
Sure. And I understand, but science is really the cutting edge, right? I mean, science should be cutting edge. Science should be making the impossible possible. So I would think scientists should not have any preconceived hard stance on most anything. I mean, they should have the mentality of, I'm a scientist. I'm here to discover. I have a theory. I do an experiment. I prove my theory. You know, there's a method. There's a scientific method, and they preach this all the time. And that's what it just drives me nuts. You know, they tell you that because they're a scientist, they know, and that's the way it is. Well, science is always discovering new things. So how is it when someone discovers something new, there's always pushback from the scientific community? There's never any, oh, that's amazing. We want to try it. We want to work through what you did. We want to verify it. There's never that. You never hear that. It's always, nope, that's not, nope, and this is why. And
well, those guys work for years and years and years to prove something, right? And if somebody else finds something that disproves their work, of course they're going to push back. They worked for years to try to prove that, you know. And Neil deGrasse
I don't know.
Tyson, I don't know if you've ever seen him on Joe Rogan. He is so fucking full of himself.
Oh, I mean, he is. The dude thinks he's the best ever. And I guess I would love for Joe Rogan to ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, what have you discovered? Yeah, what have you done? Explain to me the biggest thing that you've discovered and has changed us. Because I know nothing that he's done. I mean, what can he put his name to? What has he discovered?
Look up Neil deGrasse Tyson discoveries and just put that in there and let's see.
But Jesse, when he's on TV or he's being introduced, wouldn't that be, hey, my next guest is Neil deGrasse Tyson. He discovered the cure for syphilis. Nope, you don't hear that.
The clap. He discovered the cure for the clap.
You don't hear that about Neil deGrasse Tyson. You don't. But I hear about how he's just super smart. And he is. I mean, dude's, he's 20 million to me. I mean, the dude's smart. I get it. But come on, man, be open. You're a scientist. You're supposed to be open to new things.
Well, Chad,
that's what I'm getting.
I think you and Neil just need to fight. Yeah.
He's a big dude. He's a big dude, man. And he's kind of suave. I mean, I think he's good with the ladies.
Really?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. He might be.
I'm pretty sure that's not how things get wet, is what he would say.
So, all right. So
what did that say? Okay. Understood. He discovered his discoveries about the process of star and galaxy formations and evolutions. So, I mean,
so nothing that can be proven. So he hasn't really discovered. It's a theory, right? I mean, evolution is a theory.
He furthered our understanding of how the universe really works.
Okay, and then what just happened this last year with the James Webb Telescope?
I don't know about that.
Well, so I mean, they're saying now there's, based on the James Webb Telescope pictures that they're doing, they don't know that there was ever a Big Bang. Now they're thinking, yeah, probably never happened. They can't prove it, but now they got just as much evidence against the Big Bang as they do for the Big Bang.
Whoa, hold up.
I know, isn't that amazing?
All about it.
Yeah, see, so So see, he hasn't discovered anything. What he's done is made theories, but nothing that can be proven. But
Hey.
it's a theory. It's a damn good theory, and it's a popular one. And way to go, Neil.
Well, hey, listen.
You've really never discovered anything.
Those bodies that are there, and those 50 or 60 scientists and doctors that seem to believe that those are not of this earth, they're freaking wrong. And you know why? Because Neil said so, brother.
Well, so here's one thing. Here's one thing that I will say. None of these people, none of these doctors and scientists are saying extraterrestrial. They are not saying that.
I know they're not saying that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But
So
you can't tell me that those bodies, though. I mean, okay, so Neil believes heavily in evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most scientists do.
Mm-hmm.
What did those evolve into? They don't have any characteristics of anything
No,
that is on
dude,
this planet now.
We're gonna get there, dude. We're gonna get there.
All right, well, good.
Trust
Let's
me.
do it.
Trust me.
All
So,
right.
so again, the big question, and they're all, they're proposing this question is, what are they? What are these mummies that we have? Okay,
Just before we go, I'm sorry to interrupt you. These species that Ross just pulled this up, these new species, they had lacked lungs or ribs. So these ones here that they're talking about, they don't have lungs or ribs.
You're pulling my thunder away from me, man. You're taking it from me. I've got all this. It's now we're getting there. I'm going man by man.
Thank the sauce boss, not me. I didn't.
Ross, the sauce boss, he's just jumping the gun, man. He's got to hold the sauce.
Yeah.
You got to learn to control the sauce.
Yeah,
That's good.
Fuck you, Ross. Piece of shit.
No, I love it, man.
All right, we'll pop this on.
All right. So again, the big question they're asking is, what are they? Okay. They just want to know. And again, to start off, they said, hey, look, we're throwing this out to the entire world scientific community. Our doors are open. Come and look at these. Help us figure it out. This isn't fake. And they're saying this. These are not fake. These are not constructed by man. They're not fake. And I'm going to jump the gun here just a little bit, but carbon dating on these, they're over 1,000 years old. They're over 1,000 years old, Jesse. Okay. So we're talking about old things. These things aren't new.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and assume by the fact that they're mummified like that, I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're probably pretty old.
They're pretty old, right? I mean, they're mummified.
I'm going to pop this bad boy up to full screen here, and we'll get on into it.
Okay. So here we go. So again, they say they're non-human life forms, but again, they're not saying extraterrestrial. So they're saying they're not human. Okay. They don't know what they are. And we're going to get into some of the findings on I guess, some DNA that they found in these things. So they've got DNA from other things.
All right.
So the first speaker, and I'm gonna jump on the first speaker, and of course, I get on the first speaker, and I don't even have where it's at on here, but my guess is it's right about here. So we got our first speaker, and is that who I got here? It is not. So that's not the first guy, but that's okay. So the first guy just gets up there, and he's just basically the commentator, and he's talking. I'm not. And again, they did a lot of tests at the university in Peru, and so did I have? I thought I wrote down the university, and maybe I didn't. So it's some weird name. It's something Gonzaga. So it's kind of a weird name for the university that they did all this stuff.
You're just something Gonzaga.
Yeah. The last name was Gonzaga. So, and again, I can't find it in my notes, which is I know you find that hard to believe, Jesse, but there you go. So the bodies were found in Cusco, Peru, okay? And there was more than the bodies presented. So they know that there's more bodies there. There's some that they haven't excavated yet. And they were in a mine, an algae mine, okay?
Okay.
They did not, they're saying that they, it wasn't a UFO wreck. So they want people to know, look, we're not saying that these are UFO crash people. There's no UFOs. I mean, they're not throwing out the UFOs. And so, when this was presented, it was all about UFOs, right? Everybody's like, oh, they're aliens. They're saying, look, you got to throw that out. We're not saying they're alien bodies, other than alien in the means of they're not people. They're not a primate that we know of. And they don't even know if they're primates, to be honest with you. They just don't know. So knowing all that, why do you think they look the way they look? So we're going to go back to the Neil deGrasse Tyson. Well, why do they got 2 arms and 2 legs?
Well, Chad, I'm not going to listen to anything that you have to say or these scientists have to say until Neil tells me otherwise. So,
Okay.
So I don't give a shit what Gonzardo over here fucking tells me. All right. Until fucking Neil comes in and says this shit's good, I'm not doing it.
Well, there you go. I mean, so, okay, you be the Neil deGrasse Tyson of the episode, and we'll go from there. All right? I'm going to start calling you Neil. All right, Neil. So, Neil, these things were found in 2017, okay? And Gaia, have you ever heard of Gaia? It's kind of like, you can get on YouTube, and Gaia's, they got their own channel. They're a yoga thing. I think that's what they do. They do yoga. So you can get on Gaia and be a member and do a bunch of yoga, but they somehow did these documentaries about the findings of these bodies. And it was big news in the UFO community because, yep, they look like aliens, right? So it was public knowledge. It even hit the news, the mainstream news a little bit. But again, no one did anything about it. So, I mean, all right, imagine this. You're an archaeologist or, you're a scientist. And you're a big name. I mean, you're the biggest name ever. And you see that this stuff is found. Again, I ask, why does the scientific community, why is no one big name
Because you're not fucking
going
taking
there?
my thunder. You're not taking my fucking thunder.
Yeah, but,
okay? And listen, we don't even know. Those could be fucking mermaids, brother.
Okay. But to be possibly the biggest discovery ever to man to date, why don't you want your name associated with that? I mean, most people they want to be famous, right? I mean, especially in those type of fields, I would think, I want my name in the books, man. I want to be the guy. I want my name in there.
Because there's so many
Why
unknowns.
are we not doing it?
Chad, there's so many unknowns with it. We don't... Why would I want to put my name on something, say this, and that?
So
and
why...
It's all wrong.
Okay, but why do people want to be on a sinking ship? I mean, we've plugged this history of life and all this for so long. Why do people want to be on a sinking ship where we've got proof that, all the time things are being discovered that disprove what we've been taught or what we've thought?
Okay, well, Matt, let me ask you this, Chad. Who funds these scientists nowadays? Who funds them?
They're usually private entities that fund them.
No.
Typically you get a grant. So I mean, typically these guys get grants from private entities, and that could be companies. It's rich people. The colleges typically don't do it. You're a professor at a college, and you get a grant to do an expedition. Now sometimes I'm sure colleges will fund it, but a lot of times it's private. I mean, it's private, and when I say private, again, it could be a company, but it's not through a college typically. You know, it's someone else funding this stuff.
Okay.
And sometimes governments do it.
Who's funding? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Sometimes
it's
governments, yes.
Who else? Big companies, right?
Right.
Big
Yes.
companies.
Yes.
What do I gain from you being stuck with old bullshit knowledge?
Well, you gain control of the people.
There you go. So
Yes.
why in the fuck?
And I understand that. And I do. I understand that, Jesse, I do. But again, I go to, okay, it's out. I mean, it's been out since 2017. Someone should have some balls to go and look at this stuff.
My boy,
and look at it.
My boy Neil's not doing it.
No, Neil isn't. He's too busy proving the Big Bang and evolution.
Hey,
you know,
prove me wrong.
But prove you're right, because you can't. So, I mean, Neil, there you go. You can't prove anything either. You're just a smart guy.
I hope fucking Neil sees this.
He's gonna. He's gonna.
And I hope he comes after you.
He'll probably want to be on the next episode so that we can talk about this, and he will rip me to shreds. But that's fine, because he's a smart guy. He really is. He's a very smart man. But again, he's got no proof. He's got no proof. None.
Did you have your own TV show, Chad? I think
didn't. No, you are correct, sir. You are very correct.
So there's his proof. All right? I had my own TV show. I taught kindergartners that stars are so-and-so.
So, all right. So we talked about why they want this hush up and why they want to say it's fake. And you said that control. We don't want to, I guess, disprove the narrative of human history and this and that.
Well, yeah.
Right? So the other bad thing, and it needs to be said, is so Jaime Maussan, the guy behind all this, he's a Mexican reporter, and he's big into UFOs and the fringe and, ghosts and things like that. So he's been caught in the past providing fake stuff. I mean, he has. He's been busted. I mean, the dude. And we kind of talked. Yeah, we talked about that
last episode.
Yeah. Yep. So you got some of that, right? So I'm sure initially everybody went, "It's Jaime, man. All he does is put out fake shit," right? So I mean, I'm sure there was a lot to do with that. So there you go. So all right. So we're coming up on the second speaker, and that's who's up on the screen right now. Okay.
Should I put it on the screen?
You can if you want, or we can leave it here. I mean, I'm just going to play it, and not a whole lot. It really doesn't matter what's going on, but it's just going to give some people to see stuff. And here you go, back to Christina Gomez. Her show is called Mysteries with a History. So, go watch her. She's pretty good. I mean, she's got some good stuff, but watch us first, because we're just better at it, and there you go.
Yeah, we are.
So the second speaker is not Jesus Angel, it's Jesus Angel, I think. I don't know. So he was the actual first speaker. The other guy was just kind of a commentator, but he gets on there and he's just an air traffic controller, right, in Mexico. Okay. And so, he gets up there and he talks and he says, look, there's stuff up in the sky. So I'm going to stop here for 1 second because, it made me wonder why they put this guy on, right? He's an air traffic controller. We're obviously going into UFOs, right? I mean, that's where we're going with this guy. And they ask him, hey, before 2023, how many reports of UFOs did you guys get? And he said, maybe a couple a year. And they said, okay, 2023, how many do you get now? And he goes, we get a ton of them. Okay, so they're doing all this stuff. And I just wonder, why is he even a guy talking when they're coming out all saying, we don't think these are UFOs or aliens? I mean, why would you do that? Why would this guy even be a list of speakers?
Well, Chad, that's a question that we're gonna have to bring up to fucking Neil.
Neil needs to figure that out, and I hope he does.
I can't wait.
What? You can't wait for what? For Neil to see this?
He sees this shit. Oh, half the episode of just talking shit. He's just gonna be like, "You
dude, you want some subscribers, and you know what? We hit 600 and some views last. Dude, I think this one's gonna take us to 2,000 or 3,000, maybe. I don't know. This one's good. And on that note, you know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to relieve myself right now because I'm having a bunch of these.
Dude.
And I'm on a roll.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to inform them about the email again.
Yeah, you do the email thing.
All right. So for everybody that emailed the first email, I'm sorry about that, but here's our new email. It's Shock the Nation, okay? No caps, no spaces, nothing. 2023 at outlook.com. No dick pics, no nudity. Just send us a video of you guys wanting to know a different topic, and we'll kind of go into it. We'll actually research it this time. I'm going to say it once again. No nudity. All right? As much as the sauce boss would like that, we're not into that. Don't act like you wouldn't download it.
Shock him.
Shock him. You know what? I'm going to take a quick little break, too. I've got to use the restroom. Ross, if you want to get by the mic and explain some of the stuff that you found while I go do that.
So some information I found about these, some people are calling them mummies. As Jessie said a little while ago, they're lacking lungs and ribs. But there is one study that found that one of the bodies actually had eggs in them. So it makes you wonder if they were human or not. And one body was found to have only 3 fingers. So take that.
They all had 3 fingers, I believe.
Yeah. And then I was just saying that they found a body that actually had eggs inside of it.
Yep. So there's conflicting, I guess, testimony to this Congress. Some thought that they were rocks, and others say they're not rocks and that they're eggs.
Well,
so there's conflicting, I guess, testimony on that.
Ooh. See, here we go.
And again, how did I know that? Well, I wasn't there. I just know stuff.
Know stuff?
Yeah.
Hopefully your buddy that comments on our videos comes back to, yeah, but he knows stuff.
Yeah, but I know stuff. And again, I did my research. He didn't. So, that guy can go fly a kite. So there you go.
He's your biggest fan, Chad.
He is, and I really like him. And I would like to, maybe do a little one-on-one, and maybe we could meditate or, do something constructive.
He had a pretty nice man bun, Chad. So
that's what I'm saying. Maybe we could do something constructive together. Hey, bless you, Jessie.
What's that?
No, you sneezed, didn't you? Or did you just drop something? Oh, okay.
I dropped something, Chad.
So back to this Jesus Angel guy. So, they ask him about how many reports, and he says there's a lot now, starting in 2023. So they ask him, okay, that's weird. There's way more reports now. And, he kind of stated something or he didn't state it, but gave the sense that, there's not that, oh, you're crazy if you report something, right? There's more, I guess there's more, not lenience, what would you call it? More of a, it's not a taboo to do that, right? So, they asked him then, so if there's more reports, then how many of those are documented? And his answer was none. So why? Why do they not document, UFOs or UAPs is what they're called now? Why is there no documentation on that?
The government doesn't document it, or
Yeah,
the people that call in.
Yeah, so the air traffic controllers, they don't have a system or anything set up to document any of these reports. So, with the way the world is now and how we're going and doing things, why are they not doing that? And then I beg to ask the question: in the United States, are we documenting those now? With how is it the Pentagon having the website for UAPs and this and that? So are we documenting those? Are we making those public? And again, maybe it goes back to, do we want to make them public? That kind of thing. But why are they not documenting things?
Okay. Are you saying that? Because I know the Pentagon is documenting it.
Right. I'm talking, he's an air traffic controller.
Okay,
so yes,
they're not documenting it because, well, they say they're not documenting it. I have a hard time believing they're not.
Yeah, and that's just what he's saying. He's saying no. There's no documentation on that. Nothing's being documented.
They were documenting this in the U.S. since like the early, even the 40s. They're documenting it. So you're telling me that Mexico to this day is not documenting? I don't believe it.
What he's saying. That's what he's saying. So, all right. So moving on. So then from there, they presented some audio and some video. Okay. So there was some audio and video presented. No analysis on any of it. So it was just video and audio of UFOs and UAPs. So, that's great. But, that's no different than just pulling up a YouTube and going, hey, look at that, right? So they did that and they presented that to the Mexican Congress. So there you go. Good for them. Happy for them. But I don't know what that really accomplished, right? And again, I'm wondering why. Why are we doing that when everybody's saying we don't think these are extraterrestrial? We are not claiming that, but yet we throw on this guy right off the bat when we're talking about UFOs. So I just think that's kind of weird that they're doing that. But maybe there is an agenda to get more information, to open things up, and it might all lead back to it. And again, I'm talking about the two things here at the end, the two takeaways. So I'm hitting this home probably more than I should, but there you go. So we go on to our third speaker here, and I'm going to pull up the timestamp on this dude.
Okay.
So we go on to this guy, Rafael Rangel. I don't know. He's a lawyer from Peru. So he basically gets on there and he's talking about the law aspects of what's going on and the legal loopholes. And so I'm just throwing back out to Neil deGrasse Tyson here, hey, why don't we work together? Why don't we use, the scientific method with new discoveries, instead of, oh, it's fake. This is fake, which is what Neil has said about this. I mean, I've watched videos, and he said his exact words were, they're fake.
Yeah, but okay, let me ask you, what does laws and loopholes have to do with discussing this? I don't understand. Why is it a lawyer?
Okay, laws and loopholes. So, Jesse, do you think that as a scientist, you're working on something, and you might discover something, and all of a sudden the government comes in and says, that's classified? and you can't share that with the rest of the scientific community.
Well, it's obviously not that classified if they're putting it right out here in the open, right?
Yeah, but have you seen the findings? I mean, all I've seen is guys coming on and telling stuff. I mean, nothing's out in the public. We're just taking people's testimonies, right? So, I mean, I don't know if we can go and do a search and find their actual findings. I don't even know if that's public knowledge. I don't know if they can share it with other scientists from other countries. And I think that's what this guy's saying is, hey, look, this is a big thing. We need to make this legal and unclassify things and let the community work together. And I think I kind of like the approach that they went with this guy. To me, it kind of makes sense. But I mean, you come from the Army, man. I mean, do you think that if something was, quote, a national security, why is that thing beeping? It shouldn't be beeping. If something's a national security risk, they would classify that.
Well, they would, but
sure.
Is this a national security risk? I mean,
how do you know?
Bodies from
how do you know? Okay, but we're not done yet, Jesse. I mean, we're far from done. And again, I'm going back. What's the two things that I'm going to take away from this? And I think we've got stuff here. So I really do. But yes, so that's what he's talking about. I mean, he's just talking about being able to let the science community working together and making it so they can share information. That's all he's trying to do. And I finally found the university. It's there's the University of San Luis Gonzaga. So that's the university. So that's where all this stuff has been done at. So again, he stated he doesn't believe that they're, extraterrestrial, but he's open. He's open to other scientists and doctors and theories, and they want to do more research and have them do their research. So there you go. Oh, I'm kind of jumping the gun. So yeah, then they played a video of some of their findings. So that's probably in here somewhere. And yeah, so here we go. Here's the university. So they played some video there. So then at this point, they presented so there's Maria, if you can see her. She's the big mummy that they found. So she's much bigger than these little 3-foot things that they found. And so then they presented this here. So it's, what is there? There's 11 scientists and doctors, and they all put their name on it and said, our findings are this, and we say it's authentic. Can't read it, don't know who they are, but these guys put their names on some documentation, right? So they're just saying they did the best work that they could do, and there you go. So now we're going to jump ahead to our fourth speaker. If I can get there.
French investigator. The man.
He is the man. So his name is Maurice Piero. He's a French scientist. He studied at this university. So he studied at the, what did I say, University of San Luis Gonzaga. And
but is he Neil deGrasse Tyson?
He's not. And here's the thing that we really all need to remember. And I've decided, based on what the Sauce Boss has come up with, what Neil has discovered, I think.
A lot.
Yeah. So I think I'm either going to name Neil the king of science or the king of beers. So Neil is kind of like, so he's kind of like Budweiser, right? I mean, Budweiser didn't invent beer, but they claim to be the king of beers. Only because they're in the United States, and for the longest time, they were the number one selling beer. So Neil's like the king of science. Or the king of beers. Or we can just call Neil Bud. How about we just call Neil Bud?
Bud doesn't approve.
Way to go, Bud.
This is bullshit. And you know what? You wait. I'm going to reach out to him and be like, do you see some of the shit we're putting on our podcast?
Well, we are ripping on Neil. I mean...
Bud? We're ripping on Bud.
I mean, you know what? I truly think Neil is probably a great guy. I do. I mean, I like listening to stuff with Neil. I mean, I watched the deal with Neil, and he was on the Steve-O show. Did you ever see that one?
No.
It was good. I think it was a Steve-O. Maybe it wasn't Steve. I don't know. It was one. It was just super funny. And I think Neil's probably a really good guy. But Neil's wrong. Neil's not.
Look at you coming back kissing his ass a little bit. You're getting nervous.
Like I said,
You're getting nervous. Neil's gonna see this.
No, I don't care if he sees it. It's just that if he does, Neil is a big dude. Neil would kick my ass. I'm just saying. That's a fact.
Don't start glazing him.
But Neil, you're just being dipshit about all this. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Then he comes back with an insult. All right, well, let's get on to this French guy. What's he got to say?
Yeah, so French guy again, Maurice Piero, and he studied the mummies in 2017 when they were there, and he said they are not fake, and they like to use the word authentic. So I don't know what that, is authentic. It's not real. The opposite of fake, is it? I mean,
okay, it's kind of like if you had an autograph from Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they would say it's authentic, it's real, it's from his hand, it's real.
Yeah, it makes me wonder though. Using that word, they're leaving themselves a loophole in case something is bogus.
Well, there you go.
I mean, why wouldn't you just say, look, these things are freaking real. They're not fake. No, they're saying authentic. These are authentic. Well, they could be an authentic forgery. I mean, they could be authentic anything. I mean, it's just
you're thinking into it too much.
I don't know, dude. You got some lawyer on there talk. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just like they chose their words well. And they just keep coming back saying authentic. And maybe it's a translation thing. You know what I mean? It very well may be that. So I don't know. I mean, we're just going off of the translation, and maybe it's that. Maybe it's lost in translation.
I would be saying authentic too if Neil's calling it bullshit, just so I can save my ass when it's fake.
That could be. That could be. Oh, and I didn't start. So okay, this was the dude. So when they were in Peru and they were doing their excavation and finding these mummies, he wrote a letter to the Peruvian government and says, hey, we need to protect this site. We need to keep, treasure hunters from coming in here and taking more bodies because they know that there's more bodies in there. And they just haven't got them out. The Peruvian government said, no, we're good. It's okay. So this site, as far as I know, to this moment, is not protected. And I'm not going to say anybody can go in there, but maybe, So it's not like, I don't know if they really said the exact location of where these were found. But yeah, they're there. Nothing's being protected, which I find very odd. I mean, I think it's odd, but
well, what are they going to do to protect it? Put some military guys around it and just hope it's going to stay safe? I mean, how long are they going to stay there?
I don't know. So, You're right. So I'm gonna pose this one to you. Okay. So if you think about, and I don't know how many documentaries you've watched on, like where they're in caves and they find bodies and stuff like that. Do they ever find anything else other than bodies?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, as far as anyone knows, and this guy said no relics have been found. I find that odd.
No relics.
Relics. So, I mean, even if you were to go and dig someone who died 500 years ago, would you find something?
Well, as you said, it could have been rocks or eggs in its stomach. I mean, if you're eating rocks, you probably don't have anything cool sitting around you.
Well,
right?
Maybe. I don't know, but I just find it odd that nothing else other than bodies has been found. I mean, no pottery, no.
Even if there was like
nothing.
Let's say there's technology, right? They found something slick. Are you going to go tell the rest of the world you found it?
I'm just posing a question. Look, I just find it odd. All we found is bodies. That's all I'm saying. I just think that's weird.
Are you going to play any of this fucking guy say anything, or?
No, because he's talking in Spanish. You're not gonna hear it. I mean,
someone on this channel might fucking understand
it. Yeah, but I don't have the actual video. I mean, hey, if people want to go watch this, again, this is like 4 hours long, the whole thing. And
okay,
I know you can find it. You can do a search, and you can watch the whole thing. And you can probably watch just a Spanish version, or you can watch a version where there's people translating as it's going. And I watched like 45 minutes of it, and I couldn't do it.
You watched the whole thing,
dude. It was hard. So they had a dude and a girl translating, and they were going back and forth. The dude was good. He was pretty good. I mean, he's probably like, look, if I screw up, who's gonna know? I'm just gonna say something, and there you go. The chick is like, she'd be like, sorry. And then there'd be a big pause, and then she would say something. And then,
so are you saying that the woman's not as good as the man, Chad?
I would never say that. Never in a million years.
I don't wonder your biggest fan on TikTok's been talking shit.
Well, you're going to have some of that. I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
now this dude did mention, and again, I don't know how he knows. He's just an investigator, but he's the only one that mentioned this. So some of the bodies had reptilian DNA. So that's all they said. Wasn't that. Am I what?
Are you telling me that all those reptilian conspiracy guys, they're probably right?
They very well could be, Jesse. Very well could be. Here, I'm going to do something because there was a little lag here.
Just a little bit, Chad. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, hold on 1 second. I might have something running in the background here. And while that's popping up, I have to grab another beverage here.
You're still kind of lagging just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a bit.
Yeah, I don't have anything running in the background. Crazy. All right. We're just going to keep going, Jesse. I'm going to pause this because maybe it's just this running that's doing it. So maybe that'll make it better. I think that made it better. Yeah, it's that running.
Yeah.
So again, reptilian DNA, and he was the one that said they found eggs in the bodies, in one of the bodies, but he said possibly could be rats. So, he's not saying 100% for sure they're eggs, but what animal lays eggs? What animals?
Reptiles.
I mean, reptiles. So if there's reptile DNA, good possibility that those could be eggs, right? I mean,
Yep, you're lagging again, Chad.
Possibility. How about now? Am I doing any better?
Nope, you're still froze. You might have to
What?
click out of some of those extra tabs you got, Rocky.
Here's what I'm going to do. It's probably a good idea. I don't think we need all these. All right, let's see if we're any better.
Your video's not even coming up. It says recording continues smoothly. Live video will return when their internet improves.
Well, I've got good internet. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop sharing for right now. And let's see if that pops up any better. Am I still froze?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to leave and come back. How's that?
All right. We will we'll wait for you. Technical difficulties on the Shock the Nation podcast today. Which I guess is whatever. There comes Chad.
Bang.
There you go. You're good now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably my computer, would be my guess.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw this back on. So back to, all this. So in 2019, they gave the bodies to the Inca University to study them. And so if that's the case, where are their findings? 2019 is 2023. It's been 4 years. And I haven't seen anything on that. I mean, we just see these guys.
Well, yeah.
So why are we not, hearing anything from the Inca University? Never heard of the Inca University, but there you go.
It's in Peru.
Well, it might be.
No, it's in Peru. Incan is Peru.
So, all right, then we're going to go to this dude. So David Willie Ruiz Vela, he's a scientist, and he's a plastic surgeon. So this guy gets on there and talks, and he says, hey, again, he used the word, they're authentic. Okay, he says they are impossible to fake. And the Ministry of Culture in Peru took some mummies, and then they broke them on accident. So they gave them to the Ministry of Culture, and I'm freezing up again, aren't I?
Yep.
All right, I'm just not going to share anymore. How's that?
That'll work. Try that. There you go.
Am I any better?
Yep. Coming back smooth.
All right, so I'm just going to go off my notes. I mean, all I was really trying to do here on the sharing of the screen was just kind of put a face to the name and what they're doing, and, that was about it. So, okay, again, this Ministry of Culture broke some mummies on accident. So then, they presented what they presented, and they're saying that there's more bodies in these mines. How many of them are there? And are there other places where there's more bodies?
Well, I like to think they're not just in one small space in the world. I'm sure they're everywhere. What do you think?
Well, I would think so. I mean, if you think about it, think about, I watched I think it was on Netflix, and it was in some cave, and dude, they've been working on this place for like 10 years, and they found it wasn't really human. It wasn't Neanderthal. It was something different, right? It was a different species, and they found it buried in, like, they had to go like 200 feet below ground in a small area. And that's where they buried these bodies. And so you think about, they had some sort of death and burying, and they had that thing, right? So if this is a different species, they obviously had that, you die, we need to bury you. They had that, right? They had that. They were above an animal.
Why is their skin still fully intact, though?
Well, because of the algae, they think, where it was at, it preserved the bodies. That's the only thing I can think of.
Did you ever hear when that whole thing started up in Mexico, right? They were showing those bodies. There's a guy, he's online. I wish I had it pulled up. I don't. But the movie E.T., right, that came out back in the day, those bodies look exactly like E.T.
Yep, they look like
E.T. He said, what are the odds that, that happens? That E.T., the extraterrestrial, looks spin for spin just like what these...
So I've heard a theory that Steven Spielberg was given knowledge about things.
Yeah. So why... And you can't tell
whether that's true, I don't know.
You can't tell me that they're just figuring this stuff out. This came up long time ago. Okay, they've had this knowledge. If they're finding them in Peru now, think about when the U.S. had probably found some and hid them. And
right.
You see what I'm saying?
But you're talking about, and again, and you're not saying it. You're not saying they're necessarily aliens. You're bringing up E.T. the movie, but there's something, right? They found something. What that is, and again, when we get done here, we might go there. But again, we're going to talk about the two things, and there you go. So let's go on to the seventh speaker. His name was Dino Adolfo Piotto.
Yeah, you can stop trying to pronounce
it. He was some Argentina scientist, okay? So he claims, based on the carbon dating, that they're over 1,000 years old, okay? So he got up there and said that. So here was a weird thing. So, and I don't know, we'll get there. Just to give you a little spoiler, we're going to get to a guy who's a dentist. And there's a reason why we're going to get to him. He said something weird, and I didn't quite understand it, but he's saying that what they found could be us from the future. Now, he's not saying they're time travelers. He's not saying that. But how could that be if you're not a time traveler? I don't understand. I don't understand what that even means.
Joe talks about this on his podcast all the time, the Joe Rogan Experience. He's had scientists on that claim that's eventually, as humans create more tools and make life easier, and things move on with technology, that he claims that that's eventually what will look like as evolution moves forward.
Okay.
Right? So he's not saying that those bodies there are us. He's saying that that's
what we could evolve to, basically. Okay. Okay. Okay, and maybe that's what he's saying. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, and that could be it. I don't know. So again, he says, he kind of throws out the same thing. He says, hey, we need to follow the scientific method, and if you don't, you're dangerous. So, and I think what he means by that is, you're Neil deGrasse Tyson, you're dangerous. You're not following a scientific method. You're an influencer, and you're saying it's fake. And therefore, because you're an influencer, you have more say than the people who are actually doing the work. And I think that's what he's trying to get out. And again, they're all inviting. You're a scientist, you're a doctor, you're someone who wants to investigate this, come and do it. And do it. But don't say it's fake when you don't know.
Yep.
Just because you think, so he's calling people out without calling them out. I'm calling out Neil or Bud. I'm doing it. I'm doing it for him. I'm his spokesperson. I mean, I'm taking one for the team. So, that's what he's saying. Come and do the work. Get it done. He also says, if you think it's fake without doing the work, again, you're the problem. So there you go. That's what he said. So our 8th speaker, I can say his name, is Roger Zuniga Alvarez, and he's a doctor. He invites all the academics and researchers. Again, he's doing the same thing. He says, come and do your own work. He claims the skin is real, and the first body that they presented, it was not assembled. He goes, look, that was the other thing that people were saying, look, and I saw videos where they looking at the x-rays of the fingers and like, no, that's a bone from a foot, from a whatever. And, have you seen those videos at all, Jesse?
I've seen one, but I didn't go heavily into it.
Yep. He says, they weren't assembled. He said they don't have any ears. So these bodies have no ears. There's no hair. And especially on Maria, the big one, they say the eyes are far too big for their face. So, it doesn't make sense based on other animals that we know and other primates and stuff. They're just too big for their face. They didn't have and the nose was very small. And again, 3 fingers, 3 toes. So on each hand and each foot. So, he claims a remnant of a liver was found. So, you talked about that, right? So they found a remnant of a liver. There was no lungs and no ribs. So back to what you and Ross were saying. So if you think about this, so do you know of any animals that do not have lungs?
Fish.
Okay.
They have air sacs.
So is there any other animals? So there's one animal that I know of that doesn't have lungs but will grow lungs.
Frogs.
Salamanders. Well, and frogs will too, but a salamander. So a salamander can live in the water its entire life. But if it crawls out of the water, it will grow lungs to survive. So again, we go back to the reptile, and I don't know if a salamander is a reptile. I don't think it is it?
Salamander is a reptile.
It is? Okay.
No.
So, we're back to that reptile DNA, right? That they talk about. So that is odd. He says that it,
Do snakes have lungs?
I would think, well, no, because some, no, they breathe through their skin, right?
They breathe through their skin. Yeah.
Snakes breathe through their skin?
Yeah.
Okay. So, snakes don't have lungs either.
He says that if these things were fake or doll, so that was some things that were brought out was, yeah, these may be old, but they're dolls. Like they were made for kids or, whatever. He says if that was the case, there wouldn't be any organs found in them, that they would have disintegrated. They just would have, went away over time. And it would be impossible to fake this at this point, put it into something that fossilized. So these things have fossilized. So, you think about that, maybe some of the organs have disintegrated and they've only found parts of the liver because of the fossilization process. But, again, for people to understand, these things are fossils. They're not, they're more than just finding some bodies, right? So there you go. And he claims that in the body they're eggs, not rocks. So the one guy said, yeah, we think they're eggs, but they could be rocks. This guy's saying no, they're eggs. So you got some discrepancy, which again I go back to. That's kind of the scientific method, right? You got people, they're working together. They may not agree, but they're not flat out going, without ever doing any of the work, going, you're wrong. You got two people that have done the work disagreeing, but at least they've done the work, right? So Neil, you haven't done the work, dude.
Neil's the Tom Brady of science, okay? I don't want to hear any more of this crap about these other people.
Keep doing this. Just go deep. You're wrong. You're wrong, brother. You're wrong, brother. Also, one little note, and I don't know if you've heard this one, but in one of them, and I don't know if it was one of them or if it was found separate, but they found a fetus. And a fetus, you can't fake a fetus. I mean,
how are they having fetuses and they're laying eggs? I don't.
Well, it could be in the egg. I mean, it could be. You can still have a fetus.
I don't believe inside of an egg they call it a fetus. I believe they call it
embryo.
Yep.
But once it starts to form, does it become a fetus? Again, Neil, these are things that you should teach me. I mean,
Neil's going to show up at your house and teach you a lesson, that's for sure. But it's not going to be on this, on these bodies.
Yeah, you're right. He's going to piss pound me and make me his bitch. That's what Neil's going to try to do.
You think he would?
No.
You take him?
I don't know. Maybe. No, and I'm not saying that either. I'm not even going down there.
Why aren't you going to throw it on the line? If you're gonna talk shit,
dude, I think I've talked enough. I mean, I've said a ton of stuff. So
okay, so Ross looks it up. By the 8th week, when the embryo develops, it'll develop into a fetus. So
okay.
You are right.
So there you go. So there you go. It could be an egg that's turned into a fetus.
Okay.
So now we go to our 9th speaker, Edgar Martin Hernandez. He's a dentist. Okay.
You probably butchered that, didn't you?
No, it's Edgar Martin Hernandez. I can do that one. That's an easy one.
All right.
So he goes into, the Big Mummy Maria, and he claims that the bones were very big and maybe a hybrid. So the bones in that body were too big for the size, right? So if you were the same height as that, your bones wouldn't be near as big. So then he's throwing out the possibility of some sort of hybrid. And he was the first to say that. But then again, in a way, he's not, because if you go back to the other guy, the Peru dude, he mentions reptilian DNA. So could be a hybrid without saying hybrid. And when I say hybrid, I'm talking something or someone mixing DNA together to make
Oh, so
something
you think that there's a
different.
little bestiality going on here?
No. Hybrid would be scientific. I mean, maybe. I mean, but it would be outside, something outside. So it'd be like making a liger, right? That'd be a hybrid. So you got a lion and a tiger. So you're making a liger. That's Napoleon's favorite animal.
Maria's pretty big, brother. Okay, she's about 5 foot tall. Humans.
She might be taller than that. I don't know.
Okay.
She
She
looks pretty tall.
So Neil was probably jumping on some of that lizard DNA.
It could be. I don't know. All right. So I'm trying. So I can't speak, right? We got a Dr. Urbana Zuniga. All right. So this dude found metal pieces infused into bone in the jaw. Okay. So this doctor follows the dentist. Okay. So they concluded that Maria might have had a, quote, dentist, but definitely had dental work done. Okay, again, we're talking over 1,000 years ago. And they did dental work with an implant, a metal implant into the jaw. Okay? And the metal that they found was osmium. Osmium was discovered in 1923 or 1903.
Okay.
So apparently it was found before 1903.
So they're an intelligent species.
Maybe not.
Well, I mean, I'd imagine they've got to be, right?
Again, we're going to two things when we get done here.
Okay.
We're going to be at two things, okay?
All
So
right, where are we at until we get to those two things?
well, we're getting close, dude. So I mean, all right, here's my second page. We're right here, and then my third page, I got a little bit. So we're getting there.
We're getting
I mean,
there.
brother, we're getting there. We're getting
All
there.
right.
So I told you, man, we had a lot to go over on this. I mean, I'm taking 4 hours, and what have we gone? Almost an hour and a half, or a little over an hour and a half now.
A little over.
Yeah. So I mean, we're condensing 4 hours into kind of some small stuff here. So
Okay,
we're doing our due diligence.
We're doing our due diligence on the Shock the Nation podcast.
We are, and I gotta say, Jesse, so far, in my humble opinion, this is probably the best episode out of all the episodes that we've ever done. We're really getting deep.
Chad, we're going to leave that up to the viewers and Neil. We're not going to sit here.
You're right. We're right. Neil, if you're watching, would you please leave a comment in the comment section below, especially on the YouTube channel? I'd really appreciate that.
And Neil, let's make it appropriate, okay? Some of the stuff I can see you saying to us is going to be pretty rude.
Yeah, don't be a hater. Please don't, and prove me wrong. I mean, show your work. Because you're not really proving me wrong. Because I'm just a messenger for what the scientists in other countries are saying. I'm just a messenger, man. And yeah, I have some opinions on you, on how you work, and that's fine. But prove me wrong. Prove them wrong. That's the most important thing. Prove them wrong. That's what I would like to see. But hey, there you go. So again, we're talking about a body over 1,000 years old, and how can that even be, dude? I mean, you were infused, not nailed. So they said it wasn't like pounded in or anything. It was infused. So I don't even know what infused is, or how, is that drilling a hole and then putting something in?
No.
Or
infused
is it like melting into something? Or
nope. Infused means like,
was it grown in there?
No. The infused means that your bone's marrow and that material is meshed together, right? So it's almost like it was I don't even know how to explain that. Infused, so like it'd be like if you took like steel and iron, melted it together, and then it got hard. It's infused together, right?
Okay.
That's what I would think it'd be. And you can look that up. What's infused? Like term definition of infused. Ross.
Neil, I thought you would know that, Neil. I mean, you should be telling me. He wasn't
even. Hey, listen, I'm gonna bat for Neil here. He wasn't even talking about that.
Yeah, but Neil, you should know. You should whip that out right away.
Just what's that say, Ross?
Just steep in liquid as water without boiling, so as to extract the soluble constituents or principles, or to administer or inject by infusion, especially intraversely, diffuse the blood.
Okay, so pretty much what I said.
I figured out what was making all that noise. It's my dang iPad. We're going to shut that off. All right, so there you go. So infused. So it wasn't drilled. It wasn't pounded in. It was kind of grown over, formed into type of thing, right? So, I mean, you could melt something in and infuse it, right? I mean, is that what I heard?
Yep.
Okay. So remember that at the end. Okay. Just remember this point. So this is part of my 2. So just kind of remember that. Okay. So then our 10th speaker, no, I take that back. It was our 11th speaker. So he was a president of the university of the whatever Gonzaga University. And he just got up there and just basically said the same thing. Hey, our school's open. Come and do the work. I'm inviting people to come and do it, right? So, again, they're showing, Neil, they're telling you to come. I mean, they're inviting you to come and do this and look at this and do the work. Our 12th speaker, he was a criminologist, and I'm not even going to, it might have been a chick, Anna Shuka. Just talks about the cranium on Maria just being way too big for the body, right? Like things that size shouldn't have that big a body. And, we go back to they found other bodies. I haven't heard, were they the little ones? Were they more big ones? We don't know. So, as far as I know and what I've seen, there's only been one of the big ones, like Maria, that I've seen. And I don't know, have you seen that there's been more than one?
Rock, the sauce boss is on it. He's looking at it.
Okay.
I don't think so. The research we did a little earlier, what it sounded like, it was just Maria that was. And could that be like kind of like bees, right? They've got a queen who's really big, and then they got a bunch of workers that are small. I don't know.
I don't know. And could the little ones be babies of the big one and could grow to be the big one? I don't know. They don't even look the same to me. I mean, when you look at them, they do not look the same at all.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know. So I know that he came out and he also said that Maria, when she died, and I don't know how they know it's a she. They're just saying Maria. They're calling it Maria. It could be a male, for all I know. Or, there's animals that are both sexes. They're he, she's type things. They identify with whatever they want at any point in time. But so anyway, they're guessing about 35 years old when Maria died. So it was 35 years old. The teeth were worn down. So when they did the x-rays and stuff, they noticed the teeth were worn. So based on what they saw, they believed that that this thing used its mouth as like a tool. Like it would use its mouth to do things that we wouldn't use our hands, but it used its mouth. So, if you think about it, you only got 3 fingers. It would be hard to do certain things, right?
Well,
I mean,
keep in mind it's eating fucking rocks too, Chad.
eating rocks or laying rocks. I mean, one of the two, right?
I'm just
mean,
fucking around.
no, go eat a rock. Another thing, what they found on Maria was Maria had tuberculosis, so had TB. So 3 things that we know of that can get tuberculosis. Do you know what those are?
Nope.
So humans, bovines, and primates.
Okay.
So those are the only things that can get that. So then our 13th speaker, he was a biologist, Ricardo Dude. I'm not even going to go there. He got on there and stated Maria and the other mummies could very well be hybrids of monkeys and something else. So obviously if there was reptilian DNA found in one, there's obviously something else. And how or who did that? I mean, if they're hybrids, how and who?
Well, yeah, I don't. That doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Okay.
You can't mix a primate and a monkey right now. I mean, not a primate and a monkey. You can't mix a lizard and a monkey right now, right? You can't have a lizard.
I don't know. I don't know if I can. I think it can be done. So I know I just read it last week. So I'm just saying we as a people, they just created a new DNA chromosome, I believe is what they did. And I might be way off here, but it had something to do with DNA. They created a new DNA scientifically.
Okay.
So, we've always been on the verge of doing things like that. So I'm going into, here's my one thing. Okay, here's thing
Let's
one.
finish up with the list, and then we'll go into the 2 things.
Okay, all right. So we've only got one more speaker. It was just a doctor, scientist, and he compared a 3-fingered person and these mummies. So he took X-rays and just compared them and showed them and showed how they look. And it looked about right. I mean, and it was someone who was born with 3 fingers, and they had these 3 fingers. So he was just, showing that. So that was it. That was basically the people that presented it. And I just came away with 2 things on this.
Before we go into the 2 things, I'm going to use the restroom quick.
I am too. I think Ross needs to get on and maybe go over the email again. Yep. And maybe talk about our sponsor, Menards, about how you can save big money at Menards, and about how, hey, we are looking for sponsors. So, if you want to sponsor this great podcast that we're doing here, go to the website, reach out to us. Yeah. We're those kind of people.
Yep. Sponsor, man. Menards.
Menards.
Go into the email. Okay. It's
Yep, I remember what it is.
okay.
So, Dad, what they were just talking about, I did not find anything else about how the other aliens were as far as size compared to Maria. So there's that. And just another reminder, if you ever want to reach out to us, go to shockthenation2023 at outlook.com. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions or anything that we want to discuss. And yeah, anybody looking for any sponsors, Menards, as Chad said, we'd love to have you guys. Bush Light. I'm a very big connoisseur of Bush Light. So yeah, anybody that's watching this that would like to sponsor, just give us a shout out. And here's Jessie.
That's the Sauce Boss, our narrator. So, as we wait for Chad, there's Chad.
Baby. We're getting the cast down.
We're getting it down.
Whoa.
We're getting it down. So, Chad, now that we've gone through the list of notes that you took, what's your two things that you were kind of setting on here?
Yeah. So my two things is I'm going to try to go into the easy one, the one that is, because I think the second one might lead into a whole nother discussion. It might be a whole nother podcast. And I don't know as much about it other than I know the theory and what people say. But the number one thing is I go to who is controlling the narrative on all this, because look, I don't think that these guys are going out there knowing that this is fake, knowing it's not real. I just don't think they're going to put their nuts out there and do that. I mean, that would be, that would be suicide on a career.
Yep.
I just really believe that, and could they be duped? Sure they could. They could all be duped. It would take the greatest duper in the world with the technology that we have today to come up with the greatest hoax that we've ever seen. I mean, who's keeping this down? And it can't just be the United States government. I mean, it can't be, Jesse. I mean, yeah, we're a big government. We control a lot of stuff, but we don't control the world as far as information. So why is this not a bigger story than it is? Why is this not the number one story everywhere?
Wow. I don't think this is the first time this stuff has been discovered. If you think that this is the first time that we found this stuff, you're crazy. And here's another thing. Let me ask you this. Do you think we are the first species to inhabit this planet? I doubt it.
I don't think so.
Like first intelligent species. I don't think so.
That I don't know. I have no idea on that, Jesse. I don't know. I mean, it is so possible that yes, there was other beings and other intelligence other than humans. I mean, very possible. But I go back to, you say, I agree with you, this isn't the first time it's been discovered, but this is the first time
it's being taught.
that I've seen it on the news, right? It's the first time you've seen it on the news. So where is I guess the people who want to know? Where's those people? Where's the people going, yeah, I'm going to go check this out. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to do this.
You can't tell me though that the people that they want down there, right? So like the most intelligent minds we have to offer, you can't tell me they're not being told that. Nope. You're not going down there.
Okay, if that's the case, and I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm not, I'm not that guy, but isn't science for the betterment of mankind? Isn't that why these people do that?
No,
And
I mean, you can say that that's the case. I don't believe that. I believe some of the stuff. Let me ask you this: do you believe that everything that is being told to us is for the betterment of us?
Absolutely not. No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't
So
believe that.
if you still watch the news today, and this is my personal opinion, if you watch the news today and you believe that shit, then I don't know what to tell you. And if they're pushing that on the news, okay, right? And you can tell that the news is controlled, right? So the things that actually matter that should be on the news, that they're, it's never on there. It's always bullshit. It's always like, well, this celebrity just went out and did it's a distraction. They're, and all this stuff. Like, yeah, of course the Mexican government's bringing this up because I don't think they're wholeheartedly involved in some of the stuff that goes on in, the bigger civilized countries, right? So like, yeah, of course they're saying, like, get everybody down here to come look at this. Well, why is there not American scientists down there?
And that's my question. Why? Why are we not there looking at this?
Yeah. So,
and not just American, Jesse. There's more than 2 countries in the world. There's more in Mexico and the United States.
Okay, but was there British scientists down there? No, there wasn't. I mean, if you're not, and the only French guy that was down there was an investigator. He wasn't even a scientist.
And he was an alumni. He was an alumni of the university.
Okay. Why is there none of these scientists from these big countries? Because you can't tell me none of them were interested in it.
And again, that's what I want to know. Why the lack of interest? I mean, and not only from the scientific community, the news. And if the news were to push this like they should, it would create a need for the scientific community to go and investigate this. And if they find that it's fake, great. You did your job, Neil. You proved it was wrong and it was fake. But go do it. Go do the work. Someone needs to do the work. Yeah, and like I said before, the sad thing is I think that we feel we're better than the rest of the world in our scientific community.
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
I know, but Jesse, hear me out. If some scientists from the United States were to go there and go, yeah, this is real, do you think the rest of the world would go, ooh, shit, we need to go check this out?
Yep.
And why is that? Because we're the United States, right?
Yep.
And that's sad. I mean, that's sad. I mean, there's smart people all over the world that are smart, and they can go and do this, but yet we don't believe them because they're not from the United States.
Well, and what if those bodies tell a bigger story that our history doesn't want to allow us to know? Like
there you go. You've hit number 2.
Okay,
you just hit number 2.
Okay, one more thing. Let me ask you this. So, do you believe in that theory that this is a theory? It's not true. Okay, it's not proven to be true. Do you believe that all these unidentified objects that we do see, right? They don't have to do with those bodies. I'm not saying they do. Okay? What if, and this is a theory that's been brought up multiple times, what if this planet is just a farm, right? And we're genetically engineered by other creatures or other, dimensions. We're just a genetically engineered farm product, right? Or a test lab that we are being watched right now. And we're just sitting here and there is so many theories on this. Like, we're seeing all these unidentified objects that have the ability to do things that we're thousands and thousands of years away from being able to do. And another thing too is like when we light off a nuclear bomb, what happens? Okay, or we do nuclear tests, all these objects come flying around and they can't stop them, they can't do anything about them. But they're there kind of making sure we're not blowing ourselves up right? So why? Why does these objects come around when we do stupid shit? Because they're making sure we don't do something dumb, right? And why would they care?
Right.
Right?
Yep. So you hit number 2, and I just want the viewers to know we did not talk about any of this before the episode. We did not. I mean, I showed you the sheets of paper, and I said, Jesse, I did my research. We're going to have a show. I mean, we're going to have a show. We're prepared. We're doing stuff today. So, and I told you at the beginning, I want you to hear all this. 2 things. I came up with number 1. Number 1 was just a question of, why are we not looking into this, right? And number 2 was, you went there. You just went there. And I didn't tell you this or anything. And it's just one word, Anunnaki.
Yep, Anunnaki, right?
So it's Anunnaki. So if people don't know what the Anunnaki is, the Anunnaki can go into 9 million different directions. I mean, you can talk about Planet X with the Anunnaki. You can talk about the Sumerians. So the Anunnaki is not something that is a theory. I mean, it really isn't. It's a term that the Sumerians came up with, and they said the Anunnaki came to Earth and created Adam and Eve. And that they created Adam and Eve as hybrids of them and what was already here on Earth. And they created them, and they created them to mine gold, because the Anunnaki needed gold to save their planet. So who's to say that these things haven't been hybrids of other things by the Anunnaki? And so that is my question. The second thing is, are we finding evidence that proves what the Sumerians have said?
Mm-hmm.
So there you go, Jesse. I mean, that's what was presented. And there's a lot of questions, and I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on all that? I mean, you've kind of said it, I guess. It's just, I don't know if there's anything that you can say to disprove what they said. I mean, I believe that these people are saying, they're not saying outlandish things, right? They're not saying, look, these are aliens, here's the proof. No, what they're saying is, we don't know what they are. They're real. They're nothing that some guy made as a hoax, but we don't know what they are. Here's what we found, and we need help. We need people to come and look at it.
And here's one last thing that I was going to say that has to do with number 2, right? Number 2, that theory we were talking about, if this planet is just a test site, right? And we're the test. And if the US and the world found out that we were just a farm product or a test, a test theory, right? Why that would be one of the reasons why the governments are just like, don't say nothing. They try to push hey, the scientists, don't go down there. You're not going to go work on this, because it would prove or help prove maybe that theory, right? Why is there no big, why is there no first world countries? And I'm not saying Mexico's not a first world country. I'm just saying that why is there none of the world power scientists down there with all the technology? Why are they not down there doing this?
Exactly. And that's what I'm getting at. It makes no sense to me why we're not down there looking at this stuff. And, you say experiments and whatever. I like to think of this as the leftovers. If that's truly what happened, we're just the leftovers, dude. I mean, they're gone. And maybe not gone per se, but maybe they didn't need us anymore. And
so why if that is true, okay, right? Why are they flying around and checking things out, right? If that's the theory,
but maybe it's not them. Maybe that's not them.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And who's to say that what's flying around isn't us?
well, we don't know.
I
that.
mean, no, hear me out. Who's to say that if, okay, this was stuff over 1,000 years old, right? Well, 1,000 years old, if you look at like what we were showing on the pyramids that were 24,000 to 13,000 years old, 1,000 years old is not that long, right? So those pyramids were around longer than these things. So who's to say that what we see in the sky isn't us from then that got the technology? And the rest of us didn't get the technology.
Yeah.
And it's just us flying around, doing our thing, but we get the technology, but we're still the same creature. We're still humans. Or maybe we're hybrids of whatever they did. I mean, if we found those hybrids, if this is all real, and we found those hybrids, there's got to be more, right? I mean, they didn't get it right the first few times. Or they did, and they got others, right? I mean...
Yeah, and I just want to specify, too, that we're not saying this is what we believe. We're just speculating on what this could...
No, I'm just coming up with theories. I mean, I don't know what I believe. I mean, I'm pretty open. I do know that there's stuff there. There's shit out there. What it is, I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say too much. I don't need Neil tearing me up in the comments, okay?
Get him. Go get Jessie, Neil. Take him. He's younger than me. You and I were too close to age.
Yeah.
Go get Jessie.
Well, you know what, Neil? Listen, I defended you a lot, but if you show up here and you want to scrap, you better make sure I'm freaking sober. Don't go beat me up.
Here's what I would say. I would say to Neil, if you want to come on, please reach out. And I would truly love to hear what you have to say about this. I mean, if you want to come on, watch the Mexican Congress, what they have to present, and let's talk about it. I mean, I would love to have him on, and I'm not, even if it's only 15 minutes, but something like this couldn't just last for 15 minutes, right? I mean, this would have to be a longer thing.
He might just show up for 15 minutes, call us a bunch of idiots, and then get off.
And that very well could be. But seriously, and look, Neil, I mean, I'm kidding, right? I mean, I said it before. I think Neil's, no, hear me out. I said before, I think Neil's probably a good guy, but I am still calling him out on, you're the scientist, you're the guy with the voice, you're the guy that people listen to. Did you do your due diligence in saying what you believe? And then back that up. I mean, come on here and back that up. I mean, more than just theory, right? I mean, again, what Neil likes to say is, why would we think that aliens look a certain way? But here's the deal. No one's saying that they're aliens. They're not claiming that. They're not. But he went there. Neil went there. And again, I get it. I understand why you go there, because they brought in the air traffic controller first thing and went with UFOs. And I get it. And I brought up that question. Why, if no one says that they're aliens, why are we bringing that guy on? So I understand. And it was always meant to kind of believe that these are aliens. Maybe because that's what they look like, right? But now that stuff's come out, they're not saying aliens. They're not.
Well, and he was probably bringing up the alien thing because when people first heard about this, that's what everyone jumped to.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? And I thought the same thing. I mean, when this first came out, I was like, dude, they found aliens, right? I mean, I thought the same thing. Like, they actually found them. But again, they're saying, look, we've got no artifacts. This is not a UFO crash site. This is not.
Yeah.
These are just beings. We don't know what they are.
It was a bear.
And there you go. Right. I mean, it was something. Right. I mean, that's it.
There's just not a bunch of bodies all around each other. I mean, it's a graveyard.
Right. Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming it's in a cave. I think that's what I heard, that it was in a cave. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a graveyard. Who knows? I mean, and again, it's still, there's not a whole lot of information. There really isn't a ton of information about these and how they were found, so it would just be really, but again, whose fault is that? Whose fault? It's not my fault. It's not your fault. The scientific community, I'm going to them. It's their fault. I mean, why are they not investigating this? That's all I got to say. I'm just calling out the scientific community.
Well, I think this was probably one of the best episodes we've ever had on Shock the Nation, and I hope people watch it all the way through and, get to see the notes and kind of, like you said, we condensed 4 hours into 2.
Right.
So.
And we threw our opinions, and I don't know if we got a whole lot of opinions other than my biggest opinion is lack of scientific work.
Yep.
And really all we did was throw out what was presented, make your own conclusion. I mean, do the work. That's about it. I mean, I got opinions, you got opinions. I don't know what the answer is, Jesse. But there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think everything that you had for notes was solid. I mean, everything looked and sounded good. I mean, obviously you didn't, obviously you took key points away from it. You didn't watch the entire thing.
I did not.
If someone wants to watch the entire thing and go through it and get maybe more key points out of it, like Chad said, it's in Spanish and there's a woman and a guy that are translating it. And I mean, if you want to sit through that, that's fine. But he's just taking key points from what they said and putting it on here and making it more easy to watch, I guess.
And again, I don't know how much was lost in translation. There could be things like I talked about before. They keep saying authentic. Maybe what they're saying means real, not fake. I don't know, but there's things like that. And if someone wants to watch the entire thing and come up with what they want and put in the comments, or shoot an email, maybe we'll do an interview with that person and we can talk on what they discovered as well. But yeah, that's what we got. And all I know is, Jesse, we're just kind of here to shock the nation, and that's what we did. I mean, we shocked them.
Yeah, and to Chad's biggest fan, shock him.
Hey, Neil, seriously, come on, man. I'm inviting you.
Yeah, that'd be great, Neil. I'd love to hear your opinion on how dumb we are.
I know how dumb I am.
Yeah, and drink a beer while you're at it, Neil. Loosen up a little bit.
Neil, it could be a whiskey or, a vodka. A martini would be good too.
Yeah, Neil, you kind of strike me as the seltzer guy, but that's all right. You can have a seltzer on here. We can get her done.
Yep. But just remember this, that the Beastie Boys did not fight for your right to have the seltzer. I mean, it's true.
But, all right, Chad, I think we got her done, and I appreciate everyone for who is here watching. I appreciate it. And go to that email, send us some videos on topics.
Subscribe.
Yeah, and subscribe. Let's knock this down so we can make more videos. The more subscribers and likes and everything that goes through the algorithm makes it easier to do this. So I appreciate everybody. Shock 'em, and we'll see you next time.